Hi, I'm Graham from Second Era of Moles, and if you've clicked on this video accidentally, 90 seconds is all I ever ask. Welcome back to another week that was on Pokemon Masters X. It's been a reasonably busy week this week. The Champion Stadium in the Unova region. We've had the continuation of Sycamore with his Strange Specimens. We've had the end of the Friendiversary events. We've had Cresselia in the Legendary Arena. We've had an egg event. We've had the Friendiversary PAL battles with all me pals. We've had the Shining Heart of Dragons event return. So when I say it like that, it sounds like a super busy week. Let's get into the Champion Stadium then. I say this every once in a while about the Champion Stadium within these videos. It's how I did it. It's kind of a guide, but it's also a something for other people to build on, because I know not everyone has the same units that I do. Not everyone's been playing as long as I have and have leveled everything up and have all the lucky skills and theme skills and 6x and this, that and the other. So if you don't have the units that I have, it shouldn't be, oh, don't bother with the video. There might be something useful in the video that you think, okay, I don't necessarily have this one, but I have this one that can do the same sort of thing. So maybe that'll work. So in round 1 this week, your condition is that any field effects you put into place are permanent. I kind of felt like I could have used this for any of the Elite Four, but I went with Marshal. He was weak to psychic types, so my team was Mewtwo, Musharna, and Sabrina and Alakazam. Sabrina makes it in there for Reflect, which gives a physical attack reduction, and that makes it permanent. Other than that, it's kind of standard conditions in there. Your standard psychic setup where you set psychic terrain to start off with and then snooze you lose with Musharna. Mewtwo is doing confusion, nowhere to hide, and then shadow ball. Alakazam is doing dire hit and then setting reflect. Alakazam, if it's 6x, gets the first sync move. If not, then Mewtwo obviously for Mega Evolution and 6x. And then after that, all sync moves go to Mewtwo anyway. You may need to use some Sixth Sense with Alakazam. It's going to take some big meaty hits in the beginning there, so you're going to need that little bit of healing. When Mewtwo's sync move came, it took out the middle, it took out the one on the left hand side, just left Hariyama over there on the right, and then all I needed was a stored power from Musharna to just cap everything off nicely. In round 2, you get a move gauge boost. I chose to take on Shauntal for this one. She was weak to ice types, so my team was Sketsis and Kyurem, Xerneas and Sycamore, and Signisuit, Elesa and Rotom. I had a few different point options in there this week. I wanted to have stats reductions because that feeds into Kyurem's sync move. I also wanted to get a little bit of freezing, so I wanted status conditions on. And having done that, I got no freezing whatsoever. With Kyurem, you're doing Mwahaha and Noble Roar. With Elesa, you're doing Thundershock and raising special attack. Xerneas is doing Dazzling Gleam to get you down to that first sync move. It's going to go to Xerneas because that's going to max out your special attack. Also maxes out speed, which helps the move gauge charge more quickly. And when you're using Glaciates with Kyurem, that's very useful to have. So after that, Elesa can use Breathtaking. That's going to get you down to that second sync move a lot more quickly. You're using Glaciate with Kyurem. With Xerneas, you're using a Hornleech if you've got the move gauge for it. Otherwise, you've got Dazzling Gleam in there. Elesa's going to get that second sync move because I have her at 6x and it provides that further boost. Then you're back on to Glaciate again. It's going to take out the sides somewhere around this point. Shauntal's going to come in with her sync move. It's going to hit pretty hard. It is a big one, but fortunately, because you've taken out the sides, you've probably done a lot of damage to her already. She's not got really much to follow up with, and Xerneas can set The World is Vast, so everyone starts healing some of it back. You can use Hornleech to get a lot of that health back and tank through, and you're just glaciating all the way. Third sync move from Kyurem comes in, does a lot of damage, and then yet more glaciating in there to just finish off whatever's left of her health. In round 3, you get the condition of status condition boosts. I took on Grimsley in this one with a team of Leon and Charizard, Blaine and Rapidash, and Skylar and Swanna. This round probably took me the longest this week because I started off and I was like, I don't want to just rely on my Charizard, you know, I've got plenty of other fire units that I could use in there. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll go with Flannery and have like a burn nuke in there, or I'll go with Serena and I'll have a sleeping time in there. But I ran out of patience with both of those and I was like, no, screw it, get Charizard, come on Leon, get in here, you're needed. And after that it became a relatively standard sun setup, so make sure that you have status conditions allowed because Leon maxes out his damage when the enemy is burned. You're starting off with Strike Oppose and then going on to Inferno to inflict that burn. With Blaine you're doing Fire Spin. Don't set Sunny Day just yet, you're going to want to save that for when Leon starts using his sync moves, because Skylar's going to be taking flight and then hitting her 6x sync move. Didn't use it last week, we're using it this week though. You're going back to more Infernos with Leon. You're setting Sunny Day at some point between Skylar's sync move and Leon's sync move to max out that damage. Skylar is maxing out everyone's defense with Take Flight and also using potions to keep herself healthy, because Grimsley with his Bisharp can hit her quite hard, especially with his Iron Head. Leon's sync move comes along and Sun Boosted, it's going to take out the Lucario. It's going to do big damage to both Bisharp, and Magneton. After his sync move I was like, I'm going to focus on Magneton here because I want to take that guy out. And I was thinking the burn damage and the trap damage that Bisharp is taking is probably going to pretty much do for it before I get to my next sync move, especially if Skylar can tank through with her potions. And I was correct because Bisharp fainted just before Leon got to his third sync move. In round 4 you get a physical attack boost. Caitlin was the remaining member of the Elite Four for me. She was weak to dark types and I'd been thinking all along physical striker with Masked Royal going up against Caitlin, who's special striker, that's going to work quite well. So the team I used was the Masked Royal and Incineroar, Piers and Obstagoon, and Signasuit, Cyrus and Darkrai. Now, I usually wouldn't do this, I wouldn't use such a limited unit like Signasuit, Cyrus, but you know, it's a one-off, and it's like, I've got all these units, I don't want to just leave them on the shelf because I saved up my gems diligently for them. It's like, you've got to let them out to play sometimes. So if you're following this strategy, you want status conditions on, because with Cyrus you're going to be using Dark Void and that's going to put the enemy to sleep. That's kind of one of his big deals. You played through the event, you know, he's trying to put everyone into an eternal nightmare. You're using Dire Hit and Shout My Name with Piers. With Masked Royal you're going for Ready Fight and then X Attack. As I said, Dark Void with Cyrus and Perpetual Nightmare. That's going to get you down to that first sync move, and it's going to go to Piers for that Bubblegum X boost. After that, maxing out any attack with the Masked Royal, Brutal Swing to lower attack and defense of the other team. Cyrus is doing more Dark Void and setting Dark Wish before you get to that second sync move. That's going to power up the Masked Royal even more. He's going to do big damage and take out the middle. Can't even remember what it was, it did so much damage to it. And then you're doing more Dark Void to try and keep the other team sleeping as much as possible. Brutal Swing, Darkest Lariat are your finishers in there. Piers can maybe use Obstruct, but it's not necessary. And that should be a really dark nightmare for Caitlin, and you know, she likes to sleep a lot, so maybe this will put her off all those nightmares. In round 5 you're taking on Champion Iris again this week. I wonder when Older is going to come back. The permanent condition is a special attack boost. I use the optional condition of a move gauge boost as well. I was going to go for a physical attack boost and go with B, but I thought, nah, you know what, we'll go for something different this week. So the team I went for was Wally and Gallade, Eevee and Leaf, and Signasuit Blue and Blastoise. Wally's very young, so that's why he needs 2 supports with him, and probably 2 of the best supports in the game there. With Wally, you're using Here I Come to boost up stats. Leaf is using Tackle, maybe get some flinching. Blue is raising everyone's defense. I didn't get any defense refreshes in few times that I tried it, which is a little bit annoying. Then you're syncing with Eevee first, and that's going to give you the 2 remaining defense points that you didn't have from before. Eevee's carrying on with tackle, maybe an Iron Tail in there if you're going with striker Eevee. Wally's raising its crit hit rate. Blue is using to the top to get that move gauge moving very, very quickly, and then moving on to Focus Blast and Water Pulse, those two once you've maxed out their stats. Blue Sync's next for that team endurance. Now, when I had it with Blue Syncing first and then Eevee, Wally fainted quite a few times, so I went with Eevee and then Blue. I'm not sure if it makes too much of a difference, but that way definitely worked better for me, at least. And then more Focus Blasts. I went for the Houndoom first because I knew it had Heat Wave, and then I took out Tyranitar because I knew that it had Rock Slide and those were going to be very painful to me later. And then I turned my attentions to Iris. Had a Sync move in there to get Mega Evolution and Mega Gallade onto the field. All the time, Focus Blast, Focus Blast, Focus Blast. Leaf has her potions in there to keep everyone topped up. Blue has to the top to make sure that that move gauge refills very rapidly. Water Pulse also can boost some of your stats as well. And that should be enough to defeat the last remaining member of the Unova Elite Four and Champion. So there's another 10k points run for the Unova region. Hopefully you'll come back next week and see how we do that one again. I'm usually pretty bad at ending this sort of segment, so we've still got the Strange Specimens event ongoing. We've unlocked the sort of story section of it. So there was some strange goo or something like that. And Xanias didn't like it, and that made Sycamore worried. So I don't know what to make of that. I've got honestly no idea. Cresselia has returned in the Legendary Arena, so you're going to have 3 more gem challenges for that, and those challenges are to use 3 Dark types, 3 Unovan types, and 3 from the various Elite Fours. So to start off with, my first team was Grimsley and Lipard, Karen and Houndoom, and Signasuit, Alisa and Rotom. So this gives you 2 of each. In general, this isn't a great team. Move gauge usage can be a bit of an issue. So Cresselia's jam is that for the first half there's a special attack reduction, and then for the second half there's a physical attack reduction. So with Karen here, you're starting off with Bite. Grimsley is using Night Slash. Alisa is boosting everyone's special attack, gets the first sync move, also has Breathtaking in there to reduce that sync move countdown afterwards. When Cresselia's getting ready to use its sync move, you'll see when there's 1 remaining, it's going to use Calm Mind, and that's going to boost like special attack, defense, special defense, loads of its stats. So that's why you have Grimsley in there, so he can snatch those stats right back and take them for himself. That is very effective because it keeps Cresselia sort of nice and level, not too powerful, and you can just go to work as normal. I waited until Cresselia was below half health before I started syncing with Karen. I've been syncing with Grimsley because I think his sync move is physical, Karen's is special, and it also replaces Bite with Dark Pulse and leaves it with only special attacks which aren't as effective. But then when you get below that halfway, it's like, right, Dark Pulse, now we're getting into it, now we're doing the big damage. And I managed to take it all the way down into the second bar, and then that first move of the second bar, it's like guaranteed hit, guaranteed crit. And I had Karen and Grimsley remaining with like a small amount of health each, and it's like, ah. My second team, which fulfills each of the remaining conditions, was to use the Master Royal and Incineroar, Bryson and Cryogonal, and Phoebe and Dusknoir. So Phoebe is your vigilant tank. Unbreakable Bonds also boosts attack and the move gauge, which helps the Master Royal. Cryogonal has Haze in case Cresselia thinks it's going to boost up any of its stats. You can take that away from him or her. Or it. No, I think it's a she. You can also use Brutal Swing. That's going to reduce attack and defense, or both at the same time. You do that all the way until they're down, and then Darkest Lariat. Cryogonal has Stone Cold Endurance, which helps tank through for that little bit longer. And again, I took this down into the third bar but then that first move, guaranteed crit, guaranteed hit, and it just wiped the two of them out. Which meant that I could move onto my third team and just choose whatever team that I wanted. So I went with Sycamore and Xerneas, Blue and Pidgeot, and Sydney and Absol as a kind of dark type in there again. Token dark type. And this one was easy breezy, excuse the pun, because you sync with Blue to get Hurricane. Sycamore has Welder's Vast and Horn Leech, so it can tank through and keep itself topped up. It can use its sync move and boost everyone's special attack, special defense and speed, which is going to help you greatly through the rest of the battle. Sydney has potions as well, which can top up Xerneas if it ever gets into trouble. And you do just set loads of hurricanes against Cresselia and hope that it sort of floats away in the breeze. The Shining Hearts of Dragons is an event from last year, so it's a rerunning of that. You get to do all sorts of stories about Iris and how she's a champion, but she's a child, she's not very confident, but she also knows the Hearts of Dragons, and yeah, play through it, you'll get the idea. There's a full force battle in there as well. The only condition to get an extra coin in there is to have no more than 3 of your sync pairs faint. Because it was weak to dragon types, I used Lycia and Altaria, Cyrus and Palkia, and Rosa and Serperia. Didn't really have any major issues with that one. Managed to get my coin, my medal, everything that I wanted. Rosa should be 6x, so you can sync first with her. Altaria has lots of twisters that hit everyone. Cyrus has a big sync move at 6x. So yeah, easy breezy. For the Friendiversary PAL battles, you've had a nice little introduction when you first logged into the game. I really like them. They've been a little bit awkward, but they've been good at the same time, with all the characters being like, "Hi! We're here to say hi to you today." The only thing that irritates me a little bit is like the constant praise of the player. It's like, "You're the most amazing person ever, you've helped me so much." It like rings a little bit false for me, but hey, maybe that's because I'm old and cynical and beardy. Sexy. But what I've really liked and what I've thought was really awesome is getting to battle all of those powerful sync pairs. You can see them all in the selfie there, and just seeing them like send out their Pokemon into battle, and it's like you're there, and it's like all of a sudden here's N with Zekrom and Lance with Dragonite and Steven with Metagross, and it's like, yeah, I like these guys. We've also had an egg event for fairy types and normal types, so I've managed to hatch myself a couple of shiny Cleffers and shiny Munchlaxes, which is very nice. Next week we've got another Pokemon Masters Day, so that'll be the 25th, which is Friday. I've got to clear out some of my gear that's still stacked up from last time. There is a whole slew of events being released next week, so we'll have plenty to talk about. We'll have the return of the Legendary Gauntlet. That's for the week that will be. Thank you very much for joining me for the week that was. You're well past the 90-second mark at this point. If you've enjoyed the video, you can like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter. I'm SEOM_YT. Hopefully that'll lead you to a link for the week that will be. But thank you very much for watching this one, and goodbye.